coming to you from thecraftsurgeon.com, and thanks for joining me for another video tutorial. In today's video, I wanted to share with you my very first fall themed project. So I know fall isn't quite here yet, almost. We're getting kind of close. We're in August right now. But if you guys know me and know me well, you probably know that fall is one of my favorite, well, not one of my favorite, but it is my favorite season of the year. And so I cannot wait, because then we got the boots, we got cocoa, we got all kinds of cool stuff coming up. Love it, love it, love it. But anyways, I'm going to share with you guys how to create this really pretty and simple card. I don't know if you guys can see, but I do have a little bit of shimmer going on this image, and I'm going to share with you guys a technique using Stampin' Up's watercolor pencils and the blender pen, and show you guys how to color it. So stick around, because I am going to give you guys step-by-step instructions on how to create it, and I'm going to tell you everything that I use so you guys can recreate this project on your own if you want. So stay tuned and let's get stamping. All right, so the first thing that I used on this card is the Autumn Goodness bundle. So this is the stamp set. It comes with a total of 10 fall themed stamps, and as you can see here, there is a cute little wheelbarrow, there is the wheel, and then we have this cute little pumpkin image. You have the bale of hay, and then I think that's what that's called, hay, wheat, a bale of wheat. I cannot talk today. And then there's this cool floral arrangement that you could just stick inside of the wheelbarrow or stamp it by its lonesome. So really cute. There are a couple of sentiments in here. You have for you, so this would be a great little set to create little fall themed treats. Plant kindness, harvest love, all good things come from above, golden leaves, chilly air, autumn beauty everywhere, and then the word thankful. Okay, so there you go. So this is the stamp set. And then on the inside of the case, I have the coordinating dies. Now these dies are called the Autumn Wheelbarrow dies, and as you can see, you get quite a few in this set. There's a total of 9 dies. And the neat thing about these dies is that not only do you have enough dies to cut out the images that you stamp down, but you also have these 2 cool cut and emboss dies here that have the imprint on them. So when you cut them out, it actually adds the texture. There's this adorable little heart here, and then this is really neat because you can cut out the wheel from like foil paper or from some of the specialty paper that they have with the one of the fall suites, and I'll show you guys that in a moment when I show you guys where to find this in the catalog. But really adorable set. And like I said, it is a bundle, so you can purchase either each item separately or you can purchase them together, and when you purchase them together you will save 10%. All right, so where can you find this awesome little stamp set? So if you look in our new August to December 2020 mini catalog, I had to read that off because I'm so used to calling it the holiday catalog. On page 48, there is the bundle here. It's called Autumn Goodness Bundle, and what it does is you can save 10% when you purchase the dies and the stamp set together, like I mentioned earlier. And then there you go. Here is a image of the wheelbarrow dies, and here is the stamp set. Another thing to note about the stamp set and the dies is that whenever it's available, you can actually use the dies in the mini cut and emboss machine. Now Stampin' Up just recently released the new Stampin' Up cut and emboss machine, the standard version, which I actually have right here. This bad boy is amazing. I love this machine. But they're supposed to be coming out with a mini one soon, but there is still no word on when that's going to happen. But just know that when it does come out, it will fit through that machine. There's also this really pretty, these 2 pretty cards here as samples, and I don't know, I might just recreate both of these because they're so stinking pretty. I love them. Show you guys how they made those. And then the paper that I was telling you guys about earlier, that you could cut the wheel out, not just foil, but there is this on page 45. It's called the Gilded Autumn Suite of Products, which is super fall themed. I will be using the designer series paper from this set. So there's a piece right here off to the side, but I haven't told you guys about the paper yet. But there's some really gorgeous paper, as you can see here, and I love it. It's got foiling, copper foil on it, and it's just a gorgeous fall themed paper pack. And so we're going to be using some of the paper. But when I was talking about the wheel for the wheelbarrow, there's this brushed metallic cardstock that you can also get. We'll be using some of the basket weave and metallic ribbon on this card as well. As you can see here, I use that as the accent on that. I have a piece of the designer series paper from the Gilded Autumn specialty designer series pack. As you can see, it's double-sided, and this is what I was talking about the foil. Let's see here, what else? For my card base, we're gonna move right on into it. So the card base, this is a piece of cinnamon cider. This is one of our new 2020 to 2022 in colors, which is gorgeous. And then I have a piece of very vanilla, and this actually measures 3 by 3 inches. This little piece here measures 2.5 by 5. Okay, so that's this piece here. So there you go. There will be a project sheet on my website. So if you need to get the written measurements, you'll be able to find that link down below in the description box as well. Okay, so now that I told you guys about the stamp set, told you guys about the paper that we're going to be using, we're going to be stamping in our Early Espresso stamping ink. I have the basket weave metallic ribbon from the combo pack, and as you can see here, there is another ribbon that comes in the combo, which is here. It's gorgeous. Haven't used it yet, but it is really, really pretty. It's thin and it's got like this metallic sheen to it. So beautiful. Okay, so that is that. And then to color in our image, I am going to be using our watercolor pencils along with our blender pen. Okay, so you guys haven't, I don't think I've done a video using the blender pen yet. I think a lot of people sleep on this. This is one of the tools in the coloring tools section of the annual catalog, and it's great. Great. I've been using my watercolor pencils and my markers a lot lately, and just kind of stepping out of my normal just stamping and coloring with my stamping blends. So this is going to be a technique that I'm going to show you guys how to do shortly. All right, and so for my watercolor pencils, there are 2 color assortments that you can get with Stampin' Up. And the colors that I will be using on this card are Cherry Cobbler. Let me move these out the way. Let me move my card over a little bit. And my paper. So we have the Cherry Cobbler watercolor pencil. I have my Whisper White, some Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry. We have my Daffodil Delight. We have some Early Espresso, and then I have my Basic Gray. And like I said, we're going to be using those in conjunction with our blender pen. And then last but not least, we're going to throw in some Wink of Stella. Now for adhesives on this card, I am using a glue dot and my stamp and seal because I love this stuff, and my dimensionals. Okay, so I got a little bit left on this little sheet here. So all right, now that we know exactly what we're going to need on our project, let's go ahead and begin creating. So the first thing we are going to do on our project is we are going to stamp our image onto our piece of 3 by 3 very vanilla cardstock. Now what I did, it stuck together. Ooh, that was like it had like the death grip on the other stamp. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly ink up my stamp, the one with the pumpkin and the corn and the basket of apples. I'm going to ink this up in my Early Espresso ink, and I am going to stamp this little guy down onto the center of that piece of cardstock, just like that. But you want to make sure that you leave enough room for the sentiment. So we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment down as well. I'm using the sentiment that says plant kindness and harvest love right there at the bottom, just like that. And that's all the stamping that we're going to do. So now we're going to move into the technique of using our watercolor pencils, which can also serve as just regular color pencils, and our blender pen. So what I did was I forgot a color. Did I tell you guys? Orange. pumpkin pie. I forgot my pumpkin pie. That's like the main color that you see right in the forefront. Okay, so anyways, back to what we were doing. All right, so I'm going to start off with my pumpkin pie pencil, okay? Now, when you're coloring with colored pencils, one thing that I've learned, I'm not a pro, first and foremost, so just let me get that out of the way. But I do want to let you guys know that what I've seen and I've learned from watching previous videos where they're using watercolor pencils or colored pencils, you always want to have a sharp pencil and you want to color from the side of the pencil, not from the top. So we write like this, right? We write with the pencil up, but when you color, you want to color from the side of the pencil. So what I'm going to do is with a light hand, I am going to color this. I need to come up on the pencil a little bit more. I'm going to color my pumpkin in just like this. So I'm just using a light hand, okay? Trying to keep it super light so that way it's not dark at the top of the pumpkin. So you guys see this? Y'all see how I'm coloring, right? So there we go. Just like this, okay? Now what I'm going to do is where these lines are, this is kind of like where the shadows fall. I am going to color in, take the point of my pencil, and I'm going to come in just a little bit darker where those lines meet on this pumpkin. Just like that. All right, and I'm going to do that with the bigger one too. So I'm going to start off with the light hand because the light is going to come from the top. I just recently learned a little bit about values. So when we're laying down color and you're coloring with like color pencils or markers, you want to create color values. So you always want like a medium, a light, and a dark. And so depending on where the light is shining from, so let's say I want the light shining from the top, it's going to be lighter from the top, and the further you get away from the light, it turns darker. So like at the bottom of the pumpkin. Hence why these little lines are there. So the lines really, really help to gauge where to color the image. So I'm just going in now and I'm going back with a darker hand and coloring along those lines. Now no need to worry because when we use our blender pen, we're going to blend that color right on out. Okay, so I'm going to get kind of like up to the top here. There we go. So I just kind of guess where I want the colors or where I want the shadow, which is where I lay down the darker color, which would be on the bottom side of this image. All right, so that's all for the pumpkin. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to color my corn. So it's going to be the same concept. So I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight and I'm going to color starting off with the light hand. Okay, I'm using the side of my pencil. And then we're just going to color this right on down. And then I'm going to make it darker at the bottom. Okay, just like that. Okay. And then we're going to do that with the same on the rest of the image. So for I'm going to actually speed this portion up, but I am going to tell you what colors I'm coloring where. So this is crushed curry. So the crushed curry is going to go into my little gourd here that you see right here. Okay, so this is going to be crushed curry. My Cajun craze, I'm going to color my leaves, as you can see here. For the white, I am going to be coloring the cotton balls that you see there. For the cherry cobbler, I'm going to use the cherry cobbler on all of my little apples. I'm going to use the early espresso on the trunks or the stems of the pumpkins, along with the leaves. And then for the shadow underneath the image to make it look like it's sitting on the ground, I'm going to be using my basic gray. So that's going to go all underneath the bottom of this image. Okay, so now that you guys know how I'm going to color, I'm going to go ahead and begin. All right, so as you can see, I went through and I colored the image with all of those colors. Now, you will notice that I did leave some white areas, and that is because I'm going to be using my blender pen to bring in that color to blend it out, okay? So that's why I purposefully left some white areas in the image with some of the color, okay? Now, when you are using your blender pen, you do want to have a scrap piece of paper off to the side. All right, so I have a little piece of like a sticky note as my scrap piece of paper, just because as we're moving from color to color, you want to make sure that you clean off the tip of your blender pen. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start to blend. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the apples, since that's kind of like between that and the orange or the pumpkin pie. Those are the darker colors. So I'm going to take my blender pen and starting down at the bottom where the color is the darkest, I'm just going to blend this up so that way it's not as noticeable. And what I'm doing is I'm using my scrap sticky note here to kind of clean off some of that ink, so that way I'm not getting the full strength of that color all the way at the top of the image, because like I said, I'm trying to make it look as if the light is beaming from the top. All right, so now that we've done that, now we're going to take our blender pen and remember the shadow that we put down underneath the pumpkins with our basic gray. We're going to go in and we're going to just smooth this right on out. Just like that, so it's not as harsh of a line. There we go. So it looks like there's kind of like a little shadow there. And if you don't like how light it is, you can always go in and add more color to it and blend it out just a little bit more. So just like this. Isn't that neat? Super cool. All right, so now that we've done all of that, we're going to go ahead and assemble our cards. So let me put my pencils away in the carrying case. And we're going to move all of that out the way. All right, so now, before we get into actually assembling the card, I am going to take a little bit of my Watercolor and I'm going to color in my image. Now, one thing you want to remember is that when you're using your Watercolor, it will push the ink around as well, okay? So you want to make sure that you clean your brush in between each color that you're trying to color on the image, or it is going to mess up your image. So I'm doing the whole image. There we go. There we go.
Mommy, we're about to take a bath.
Okay.
Oh, here.
All right, so let's go ahead and assemble our cards. So I'm going to take my A2 size card base. I'm going to take my bone folder and burnish down that crease just like that. I'm going to flip this little guy over and I'm going to take my seal, my Stampin' Seal, just like that. And then I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to attach it to that Stampin' Seal, because we're going to do a cheater bow. If you've been following me, you guys know I don't like to tie just bows on my projects. I have to do the cheater method, but it's okay. All right, so we're going to trim off the excess. And then we're going to tape this little guy right on down to our card base, just like this. There we go. And then I'm going to flip this little guy over, and we're going to take some dimensionals. And we're going to pop the background or our image up over our background DSP. Make sure we flip it the right way. And we're going to stick it right off to the side, just because we want a little bit of room for our bow. And then, here we go. I'm going to tie a bow with my ribbon, maybe. There we go. And then we're going to take a glue dot and stick this little guy down right off to the side, just like that. And there you go. It's your pretty simple card. Now these cards are actually the cards that I am going to be sending in this month's In Color Club. So for my In Color Club, every single month I create a card using that featured that month's featured color. And so this month we're doing cinnamon cider, and this was the card that I created for that. So I hope the girls like it. All right, guys, so I hope you like today's projects. If so, be sure to give me a thumbs up. I've also included links for all of the supplies that I used on today's projects down below in the description box, so you can head over to my online store and check those out. And don't forget to use the host code. It's right here for the month of August. When you place an order that is less than $150 before shipping and tax. If your order is over $150, do not use the host code, because then you qualify for Stampin' Rewards, which means you get free product from Stampin' Up, which is really awesome. Also, if you want to see any updates on any of my upcoming events, classes, and receive project inspiration, please be sure to sign up for my newsletter, which is also linked below. But anyways, that is all I got for you guys for now, so I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and happy stamping.